Arise, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here. We are back for another episode of Age of Always. And as you can see, there's a new member in the band, and there's an old returning member of the band. That being said, if you guys like what we do here and you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is over on our Patreon. Link in the description down below. While you're down there, click on that Discord link, join us in the Discord, be a part of the community, be a part of the conversation. And as always, in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see the Michigan bar, which is actually already filled once. So I'll have to redo that. But you see the Michigan bar, that bar serves two purposes. One is when that bar fills, Greg unleashes terrible things on the players and their characters. And two, every single dollar that goes into that goes back to this channel for all kinds of cool things like artwork and mortgages and bills and the fun things, the fun little things. That being said, I will turn things over to Greg to take us away to the Age of Always.
Fantastic, my friends. It's been a bit, and coming back to Atari Twilight Age of Always is always a fun homecoming, my friends. And so with all of these wonderful players surrounding me, I would ask a question before I do my intro, so you have time to think about it. No one's put on the spot right after I ask it. But my question is this: you are all going to be starting in the best place in the world, in prison. And so with the ability to see everyone else, or the characters of everyone else that you see on screen right now, my question to each of you: when your characters are able, and their first moments inside these cells that they're in, of the faces that you see, whose face does your character turn towards first? Who does Heather look towards? Who does Ricky look towards? I just want to know, who is the first person that you try to engage with, commiserate with, whatever it happens to be, my friends. Think upon that as we begin our story here, back once again in the Age of Always. My friends, the Age of Always is growing. It lives, it breathes, and it hungers. War has come and gone in the Age of Always. Its beauty turned to violence, returns to the stillness of perfection. A blizzard rages through the realm, seeking to cover and cleanse the battlefields now spent. But though peace is the now, this is a conflict with no beginning and no ending, never ending, in point of fact. In cages you wait, prisoners of the Wizard of Oz, the most powerful player in the Age of Always. Gone are the allies that gave their love and support: Mr. Lewis, Wendy, Alice, and Dorothy, Schmendrick, Amalthea, and Molly, Lion, and of course, Van Halen, the Sword Princess Valeria, daughter of the Lilac Prince and she who sits the Mobius throne. Randall Flagg, before the walking dude, the man in black, now just a man. And Maggie, witch to she who sits the Mobius throne, and mother of the last prime. At long last, all four leaves are together, and that could spell doom for their enemies or doom for themselves. And can a single Autobot stand without his family found? Welcome one and all to Atari Twilight Age of Always, Episode 11, Spellblock 6. Friends, we have a playlist that we like to listen to music every time that we have an interesting moment and some time in the Age of Always. So if you wouldn't mind, just as we listen to our characters explain who they are, what character they'll be playing inside the Tales from the Loop system as far as their playbook or their character class, and the answer to the question: that character, your character, who does it look towards first? But the song I would like you to play in the background, just for a little ambiance, how about a little Over the Hills and Far Away, if you could? That is track number 12 on our playlist. Friends, I will randomize this, and I will simply ask, Bacon, who are you? Who will you be playing? And who does JD look toward?
I am playing Jesse J.D. Davis. Good to be back, by the way. He is a bookworm. He's like 100 years old or something. I don't know. Somewhere around there. And I think the first person he would turn towards is Heather.
Well, fantastic. In that case, Melissa, same questions for you.
This one was a pretty easy one. Oh, let me introduce myself first. I'm Melissa Meyer. I'm playing Heather Jones. She is a weirdo. And I think it's an easy question because I've been thinking about it now for a number of months. She would first turn to Scarlet.
Well, fantastic. This is making it easy for me. As we jump over to G, same questions.
Hi, I am G, your friendly neighborhood lightning invoker. Today I am playing Scarlet Blake, the one of the group jocks, the athlete, and when she gains consciousness and she wakes up, probably the first person in her line of vision, and who she focuses on would be Heather.
Okay, so in mind that the two of you look at one another first, we'll jump over to Frags. Frags, questions for you, my friend. Who are you playing, the playbook, and who do you look towards?
I am playing Rob Ott. Um, he is also a weirdo, but being the oldest member of the group, now you could just call him an adult. Rob's just gonna stare straight ahead at the bars. I believe specifically because he doesn't have that kind of connection with the group quite yet. Um, so in his mind, he's just thinking, and again. So
Fantastic and completely understandable, given your recent inclusion in the group. So, Rob, the seemingly oldest of the group, stares straight ahead through the bars of his cell, which leads us, last but certainly not least, to Chris.
I am Chris, and I am playing Ricky Lewis, who is class jock, but formerly class hick. Ricky would look to the person who's in the cell next to him, which is Rob.
Very good. Very good. So just to recap too, and that's an excellent way to set this up, my friend, is so we know exactly where everyone is positioned. I have it written down here. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. So the cells go as follows. It is Rob. Next to Rob is Ricky. Next to Ricky is Heather. And next to Heather is Scarlet. Across the cell block, in one cell straight ahead, the one directly in front of Heather is JD, and on JD's right, your left, is Wendy. Now,
Oh.
to give you a little bit more here, there's nobody else that you can see. The cell block in and of itself, if you can imagine, each of your cells are 3 walls of bars. The front has a door on it, but it is barred and you can see through it. Both walls that are adjoining are bars and you can see each other. You could touch whoever is in the bars or cells next to you. And the rear is a solid stone wall. There are no windows in any of the cells. If you were to look left and right, depending upon which direction or which side, JD is on the opposite side, but at the end of each of the hallways, there is a window barred, but not glassed. So there is cold air blowing, absolutely making this place frigid. You can see your breath. And for the first time, you all feel cold here in the Age of Always. And snow is coming in with each of the gusts of wind that kind of enter into this cell block. In addition to that, and because Rob is the closest, Rob, the cell to your right, Ricky's to your left, but the cell to your right is another cell. You can see the bars, at least you can see the bars that touch your cell, but the front you can see a little bit. But it seems like almost an inch to 3 inches into the cell is a cube of inky blackness. It is solid, but it seems to ripple a bit, as if it was some type of like gelatin or liquid that has assumed cube form, almost as if someone took a cube of darkness and put that in the cell, as if it would fit, with only an inch or two to spare around each side. But you have that void next to you. My friends, that's what you get as far as the environment in which you are. I will allow you all to explain yourselves, but first and foremost, we go back to our returning member to the Keystones, JD. And when we last left the episode that JD had as a singular adventure, and upon rewatch, again, a huge round of applause for Bacon for doing a fantastic job in that one as a returning member of a character he hadn't played in over a year. Again, a hell of a job, my friend. And so we return once again. You return to the character character of JD as we return to the Age of Always. But when last we left that episode, JD had willingly walked into this cell block. He had willingly walked into one of the cells. He had placed his back against the stone. He had slid down, closed his eyes. But when he opened them, he was inside a grand courtroom. And friends, a grand court. And friends, if you could, go ahead and switch up that song to, oh, how about Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, which is track number 13, Lucky 13, everybody. Oh, Michigan won, you say? Good thing I have some of those queued up already. So, Bacon, as you slide down the wall, as I mentioned, and you open your eyes and you see this throne room in front of you, it is the walls and everything are this polished, kind of light blue stone. The floor in and of itself is rippled marble of white and that same light blue hue. It's complementary somehow, though, because as the light dances off of it, the shades seem to change and shift, so it doesn't seem as monotone. It doesn't seem as kind of expansive or even dull of having the repetitive color. But dominating this space is a throne. And this throne has no lines, it has no edges, it has no endings. It seems to be one ribbon that is molded and rippled and twisted into one long line. And upon it sits she who sits the Mobius throne, the queen of the Age of Always, an older version of the woman that you know as Heather. And Heather has told you, now you understand. And she stops and looks at you. Talking about,
What do you mean?
she stands up off the throne. JD, what were we just talking about?
I don't know. I
She
hoped that I would
sprints
see my
towards you.
friends again.
You see her, you see this regal, gowned woman sprinting towards you. There is a light crown on her head that falls off, and you hear it clatter on the stones, and she does not turn for it. She is sprinting toward you. What do you do?
Take a step towards her.
Then, as you meet, her arms fold around you, and it's a measure of emotion and it's a measure of urgency as she grabs a hold of you. You're there, aren't you? Right now, you're there, aren't you? The cells.
Yeah.
She pulls away from you, and she is taller than you, and she holds you at arm's length, but not in a disrespectful way, not in a keeping you at arm's length type of thing, but just so she can engage you as she looks at you. And when she does, you can see her focus for a second as if she has so much to say, but she decides, and it's almost as if it's a plan. She says this: tell her you aren't going away again. Do you hear me, JD? You have to tell Heather you aren't going away again. Do you hear me?
Yeah, that's fine. I can say that.
And whatever you do, tell Scarlet that. And JD, you are standing in your cell. You look across the cell block. Your door to your cell is now closed, and you see Ricky. I don't know if you recognize Rob or not, but you see Rob as well. You see Heather, and you see Scarlet, and the queen is gone. My friends, welcome once again to the Age of Always. What do you do?
I think that when they come through the portal. I imagine it's very jarring, right? Because there was the scream. It was very upsetting. And I don't think that I think they land with great force. And Heather has to kind of catch herself, and she grabs at the bar, and then she turns and she looks at Scarlet, and I think Scarlet's looking pretty rough. And she says, "Scarlet, are you okay?"
And I think that's what wakes Scarlet up. I think when they came through and they arrived in these cells, I think she lost consciousness. And then the sound of Heather's voice like reaches through her mind and she just like wakes up. And then the chill air coming through the window, for a moment she probably thinks she's still in Garrett in the junkyard. And then her eyes come into focus and she sees Heather staring at her, looking concerned.
Are you okay?
What happened? She looks
Uh,
around. Where are we?
I don't know, but I think we were trying to get back to the age of always, I think. Uh,
I was gonna say she slowly like pushes herself up on an elbow and then to a sitting position, and she shivers and like holds herself because they were just in their regular clothes before, and she looks worn out, like she's frayed at the seams. Her skin has like this chalky pallor to it, and there's very little color in her lips, and her hair is dirty and caked with dry blood underneath here, and it's also staining the top of her shirt and her skin. And she looks around. Ricky? Rob? And she will look around to see them. And I think as she's looking around, that's when she spots JD, and her face just goes still and then kind of falls in shock.
I think when Heather sees Scarlet's look over at JD, that's what draws her own focus to JD. And a look of surprise kind of crosses her face, and then she glances over to see if Ricky's okay. How's Ricky looking?
Ricky looks physically fine. He does look concerned, and he looks down the passageway to left and right. And after a few seconds, he says, sorry. And he looks towards Rob. He says, I think this is my fault. I got us onto the road, but I'm sorry, sir. And that's when he looks back to Heather and says, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. But you guys shouldn't be in here.
Mr. Rob, sir, are you okay over there?
I mean, we're in prison. Is this normally where you end up? There's definitely nothing like a boss.
I think you're in here because of me. I'm sorry.
Well, we're here now. We should probably just figure out how to nobody fell into the key, huh? And I think at this point, I think Rob's thinking because I mean he has no context for a lot of context for JD. So he's gonna kind of starting to notice the black blob next to him more so, and move towards the other side of his cell, away from the blob of blackness.
Meanwhile, Scarlet hasn't taken her eyes off JD.
Um, with Ricky's reassurance, Heather turns to JD. Are you okay? You're here. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
When he says that, she coughs. And her cough is very, very wet. And she coughs into her hand, and as she drops her hand, it comes away red.
You don't look great. What's going on? What's happened? How'd you
I
guys end up here?
well, but we I guess we traveled here. Uh we just came back from Garrett. Jesse, Scarlett, she almost died, I guess, a couple times. So but you look good. You're okay. You're okay.
Physically?
Physically. Did you
Confused a bit.
find what you were looking for out there? You know, breaking the rules, being a god?
I think so. I think so.
Heather looks at Scarlett. What's Scarlett's expression?
I want to say she's unreadable, but she's not like scowling or smiling. She's very stone-faced. As you two were talking, she stands up and she's kind of got like a ready stance. Not like an athletic stance by any means, but she's kind of poised. And she doesn't approach the bars. She stays back.
We just we just got back from Garrett, and I think we just did what we were supposed to do here. We figured out who's been manipulating things the entire time, and I think we really need you to right now just admit that you are the most like colossal, enormous ass butt ever, because we need you to get back on this team right now and we need to get out of this jail and go and find Flag. We need to go find Flag because we figured it out.
I think everyone's journey is their own, and I think we all have to do something different in order to get here. So I think the first thing we need to do is figure out how to get out. And then we can do the rest.
Heather tests the door.
It seems like a normal jail door. I don't know how many jails Heather's been in, but it kind of gives just a little bit before the catch hits against the housing. You get that kink, 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 kink. The only thing that would be different would be Rob has said that he's been looking straight ahead and kind of moved back away from the blob in the cell beside him, or the cube in the cell beside him. Rob, when you do so, you get a little bit of a better view. And the only difference between any of the cells, the cell next to you, the one that has the cube of blackness in it, has a huge, almost comically large padlock on it. The rest of the cell doors do not. They have a key. You can see where a key would go into them, but this one's got like a huge golden heart-shaped padlock on it. Not your cell, but the one next to you that has the globe or the cube of darkness. Other than that, all the doors would give just a little bit, but they all look the same.
Do any of the doors look shootable?
I think that anything is shootable if you shoot at it. But are you asking me if I think that if you shot one of the doors, it would affect it?
I don't think G doesn't think so, but like if Scarlett looks at her door, is there like a hinge or something that she could in theory shoot off and then
Yeah, these
break
aren't
the door
magic
down?
doors. I mean, they have hinges. They've got the keyhole. You know, it looks normal. Everything looks normal. But again, obviously, this is the age of always. Looks have been deceiving before. I'm not sure if Scarlet would think of that, but you know, Greg's
No,
just putting that out there. So the ricochet
no.
that kills one of your friends isn't blamed on me.
Wow, when you put it like that,
No, I'm
Gregory.
joking. I'm joking. You may try whatever you'd like.
Okay. When JD says we should first find a way out of here, Scarlet pulls both guns from their holsters. She glances towards Heather, Ricky, and Rob, and she says, "Cover your ears," and she will shoot at the hinges or a hinge. Yeah.
The guns go off, but no projectiles leave the barrel.
You son of a bitch, wizard. Okay.
And the
And I'm
strange thing
assuming
is, if you
she would know that they shot blanks, right?
well, yeah, but if you check, it looks as if your guns are not loaded with they're loaded with actual rounds. But and you can even see that the ones how many shots you take out of each pistol, there is an expended round or an exhausted round in each one. But of those spent rounds, you don't know where the actual projectile went, if anywhere.
Yeah, I think she would just be like, and she'll walk forward towards the hinges, and she's gonna shoot a couple more shots.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah, very loud, I assume.
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
no muting of the sound. It's still very loud.
Yeah, and then when nothing happens, she's just like, "Oh." No
I
dice.
think Heather notices Wendy at this point. Is Wendy awake? What's up with Wendy?
Now that you look over at Wendy, you see that she is sitting crisscross applesauce in the middle of her cell, and her hands are on her knees, and she is staring directly ahead. At least you think so. Her eyes are completely white.
That's strange. Ricky, do you think you can like I don't know, find the road or whatever it is that you do?
I don't think we're going to find it in here.
Ricky, while you are looking at Heather, you see the color draining out of Heather's eyes.
Heather, are you okay?
Is Heather okay?
You feel fine.
Your eyes.
Well, I don't feel fine. Heather coughs again.
Well,
And,
relatively speaking, there's no
smears-
additional problem, right?
Yeah, that smears some blood from her nose that has started to leak out of her nose. I don't feel great, Ricky.
You should sit down.
Okay, yeah. And she puts her back up against the bars and slides down.
Think
Melissa,
Scarlet-
whether Heather wants to or not, as she sits down, I mean, everybody does it, but you just sit crisscross applesauce.
Scarlet will holster her guns. She looks at Heather and like notices how she's still feeling the effects from their battle, she assumes, and she'll stride to the window that you said was barred, and she's gonna like pull on it, and she's gonna look out to see what she can see.
The windows are not in your cells. They are,
Oh.
imagine as you look out into the hallway to the right or left, like Ricky and Rob did. When you look to the right, down the hallway on the wall that would be kind of like the exterior wall of the cell block, you see a window.
Oh, okay.
Same one on the left-hand side, you see a window. And that's where the
Oh.
cold and snow is blowing in from.
Cool.
You don't have, you can look out them, but you can't, kind of look through them or get close enough to do that.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So instead of turning to run to the window, she's going to she's gonna kick at the bars of the door and she's gonna like yell, "Hey, hey, let us out!"
There's no answer to that, but as I'm sure that draws attention, and with JD sort of being across the hall from where you're kind of like screaming out, JD, you would see that the color is draining from Scarlett's eyes. They are turning white.
As all this has happened, like Heather's focus with her wide eyes is going back to JD, and she's got a good look of irritation on her face.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna I was gonna try to get Ricky's attention and kind of go do a little head nod towards the black blob. Like, hey man, have you seen this thing?
He looks past Rob.
It's just darkness.
Does he see the cube? Or was it just a dark? Does it look like a dark cell?
It looks as if it looks just like everybody else's cells. You can see the bars, at least on the sides that, you know, kind of join with Rob's, and you can see the front bars. And it's almost as if somebody inserted a cube that was just like an inch on every side too small for the cell. Like they just kind of slid, you know, square peg, square hole type of thing. And it has a pretty flat surface. You can see almost like pond ripples of kind of like, you know, pressure moments where something looks like it hits it and kind of creates a circular ripple effect. But it doesn't mean it doesn't get any bigger. It doesn't kind of wave out or anything. It stays the same cube shaped. It just does have some kind of dark movement along the surface. But you see the same thing that Rob sees. And
Probably
when
not a
Rob
good
looks
idea
at
to
you,
touch it.
yeah, when Rob looks at you, I'm sorry to interrupt. When Rob looks at you and Ricky, when you look at Rob, both of you, because you've already noticed it in the others, your eyes are the same. They have not grown pale. They have the color to them as they normally do.
I wouldn't touch that. But
Is
this thing in your
there
pocket,
like,
you can throw it.
yeah, that's all I was gonna ask. Is there like a pebble or maybe like a little chipped off piece of concrete or rust flake from the bar, something with enough heft that I can kind of throw at it and see what happens?
Absolutely. What would you like? Would you like to have something that is like on Rob's person, or are you looking for like just like a
No,
piece of
I'm
dirt
looking
or
for a
rock or
kind of
stone?
just like a quarter sized piece of like flaked off concrete from the wall or something to just kind of pick up and throw in its direction to see what happens. I mean, I'm not trying to, you know, hum a hole through the thing. I'm just kind of trying to see what happens when something makes physical contact.
Gotcha. Absolutely. Okay. So, you actually, for whatever reason, your cell is like completely clean. It doesn't look like there's anything even remotely like loose, or there's no debris, there's no dust. Some of the other cells seem to be a little bit dirtier, but your cell in particular, Rob, is like spotless. But because Ricky is right next to you, between the two of you, you can easily find a piece of debris in Ricky's cell that he could hand to you. So yeah, within a few seconds, you have, you know, like you said, a quarter-sized piece of chipped stone. Where do you throw it? At the front of the cube, the middle of the cube, the rear of the cube?
The side facing me. So I'm trying to get it through the bars. Like Rob's main goal is to see what happens when physical contact is made with this thing. See if it has a reaction, if it does something. What just in general, just let's find a baseline for this thing. I could
Absolutely.
probably
So
try to talk to you also, but
when you throw it at your side, like, you know, right at the side of the cube, it enters. It doesn't make any ripple though. You don't see like a corresponding wave in the material that this is made out of, but it disappears into it. And for a second, it almost looks like the slot on an arcade machine, you know, as it kind of pierces in, you see that kind of like thin rectangular opening, and then it seals shut again. And you hear the clatter of the stone. But that's all you hear.
So it sounds like it lands on the ground and kind of bounces. That's what you're saying?
You figure if you did it in your cell, it would sound the same way.
That was pretty uneventful. I don't know what I expected.
I mean, at least we know it's not going to like maybe suck your hand into itself or something.
Yeah, or explode. This really could have gone bad. I don't know why I did that.
I didn't think that was going to happen. But I'm glad it didn't.
I do have a Michigan.
Okay. You're sucked into the cube.
Not again.
Yeah. So shooting the doors didn't work. Agitating the cube did anything. Did nothing.
And Scarlet is still kicking the bars and yelling.
Scarlet, you're starting to get tired. You should probably sit down.
Yeah, I think she's kicking and kicking. She's like, hey! And as she like winds up to kick again, I think she like loses her balance and she like kind of spins and like cartwheels her arm and she like puts her hand down like and lands on her side and just like breathing heavily.
Ricky and Rob, you would notice that the color is almost completely gone from both Heather and Scarlet's eyes. And if you turn your attention, I know that Ricky has no idea who's across from them in the cell, and Rob has little concept for who JD is, but should your vision cast towards JD, you would see that his eyes too are turning white.
Can you guys still see us?
Yeah, I can see you fine. I think we need to try and pick this lock. Do we have anything on us? A belt, a hair clip, anything that can go inside the lock?
Anything that you all had on you before, you still have on you, as evidenced by Scarlet's guns. So a belt could be easily something that you would have, yeah, if you wanted to start using the I don't know, what is that part called on a belt that goes through the
little buckle part, something?
Yeah, the buckle sticker.
Buckle
Whatever. Right.
When JD speaks, Ricky looks across, notices his eyes, and goes, "It's Jesse, right? You should probably sit down as well. Your eyes are the same as theirs."
Well, I would like to avoid sitting down. I don't know what that's going to do.
I mean, it's better than passing out when you're standing up.
Maybe.
You are getting tired, JD.
I could sit, but that leaves it to you two. You guys will have to try and get us out of here.
The two smartest guys in the group? No problem.
Just throw another rock.
Yeah, that worked real well the first time. He's gonna look at Ricky and just look at the cube and go, "Hey, cube."
There is no answer from the cube, but I will say this, as these moments are becoming minutes and these minutes are becoming longer still, Heather, you think you close your eyes. Scarlet, again, you're just so tired. And JD, you seem to last a little bit longer. Maybe it's a century's worth of experience, or maybe more of an immunity built up here in the age of always. But eventually, within 5 minutes, both Ricky and Rob would see all three of your companions assume the same position as Wendy, crisscross applesauce in the middle of their cell, eyes open and completely white. And for the first roll of the game, we're going to have Frags do something, everybody.
Oh,
Frags,
neat.
roll me and investigate, if you will.
And I think Scarlet would be like, as she's breathing heavily, trying to catch her breath, and she just feels exhausted. She's like, Heather, I can't. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm just so tired.
Heather's already asleep.
I can't see what your roll was for some reason. This-
It says 0 successes.
okay. So it takes you a second as everybody kind of, and JD, you have a moment to say something. Was, it's up to you two to get us out of here. Was that your last statement before you
Yeah, I think
drift
so.
up? Okay. So you all, with those final words of the three, you hear in your ears as you just, are looking around and then at each other. And Ricky, you roll me an investigate, if you will, and tell me what your successes are, because apparently I can't see them.
No successes.
No successes. Okay. So a few moments pass, and almost at the same time, Ricky and Rob, you see something slithering out of the black cube beside you. It takes you a second because it looks like, at first, it looks shiny, slick, wet. But within a moment, you realize that it's not any type of appendage. You believe that it's hair. And as it kind of slithers very serpentine out of the cube, you see other strands coming out as well. They creep about a foot, 2 feet into your cell, your very clean cell. And you see they slowly form a shape, almost like a line-driven Etch-a-Sketch. And you see an eye, and it blinks and looks at you. But we're going to go away for a second. Heather, if everybody could maybe play up a little song for me, and we're going to go back to every little thing she does is magic, if you would, my friends. Cue that one up. And Heather, you're on the beach. And you know which beach that is. Beneath you, your
Yes.
hands are small. They're playing, and you're in the moment actively building a castle, maybe. And as you turn, you see another small set of hands aiding in the packing of the sand of the structure that you are, raising. And when you look up into the eyes of your sister, you know that it's Van Halen. She's very young, maybe the same age, or maybe just a little older than you, and not by much. But she's smiling, a brilliant smile, and the weather is perfect. The sea is white capped and it's rolling, and it's a constant sound in the background. It's ebbing and it's crashing, it's drawing and its strength. And as you turn your head away from your smiling face of your sister, you see a beautiful woman lying on a blanket. She is propped up by her arm, and she turns and looks at you and smiles at both of you. And then she turns her gaze away and she looks up at a nearby dune. And this goes on and on. You're playing, and when you turn back to the woman you know is your mother, you see her smile at you all, but her gaze never lingers on the ocean. It always turns back to the dune. And beyond the dune, but not directly beyond the dune, is a beautiful blue castle. And somehow you know it is the Azure Citadel, your home. And as you see all of these things, you keep seeing your mother look at you all, smile, and then turn and look at the dune, not at the castle, but at the dune. And there is a swirl. There is no other way to explain it. And you are no longer building your sandcastle on that beautiful beach. You are still on the beach, and you can smell the salt, and you can feel the same wind and the same sky and the same clouds. But now you are your age, and you are standing in front of a small dune. What could be over it?
She looks over the dune. Is there a Azure Citadel?
Well, you look around, and behind you, and kind of behind and to the left, is the Azure Citadel. But when you look over the dune, you see below a beach, two little girls playing, and you see a beautiful woman who is lying on a blanket. And for the first time, something that you didn't see moments ago while you were building your sandcastle, a handsome man sits beside her on the blanket. Their proximity speaks of friendship, but the way he holds her hand speaks of something else. And as soon as you look over the dune, you see the woman whose eyes are always on the things that she loves as she watches her daughters, and then she turns towards your dune as if she always expected you to look over it. And as soon as your eyes crest, her eyes turn towards yours, you see her gasp, even at this distance. And both she and the handsome man stand. And within a moment, you know that it is Randall Flagg. And you know that this is your mother. And she begins to run toward you.
I think in opposition to what happened with JD earlier, Heather doesn't move forward. She takes an unsteady step back.
She continues to run. She continues to climb the dune, and you see she kicks off the shoes, and you also see the two little girls on the beach notice what their mother is doing, and you see them both stand and kind of look curiously toward both you and their mother. And you see Flag move to the base of the dune, but he does not climb. That is something reserved for just the two of you. And when she finally gets in front of you, she slows. You can see that her breathing is a bit labored, but not too terribly so where she couldn't speak, but she sees your posture and she nods. I understand.
Do you?
I do. This is my third time in this moment.
Third time? What do you mean?
She looks
Was I
back on
here?
she nods, almost as if she knows what you're going to say. And she looks back on the beach at the little girl building the castle, or watching now. She looks to you, and then she touches her own chest. 1, 2, 3.
Heather, good.
I know what you're going to ask, but I need you to ask it.
You know what I'm going to ask? I don't know what I'm going to ask. I remember the speech, you know. Uh, but I know I should remember you, but I don't. I guess I know now. It's as if I've always known, but I don't have those memories to call up. How old how old am I there? Am I 4?
Almost.
You know, for years I wondered what it would be like if you were here. I stood always on the outside looking in at these tiny little moments that people had with their parents, and like this was this one time when Ricky's dad ruffled his hair, and then there was this, Scarlett's mom. She was always so proud at those games, but I was always on the outside, and I always wondered what it would be like to have someone like that. But I don't have those memories, and because I think you chose to take all of those memories away from me, and I'll be honest. I think I made a choice too. I chose to not remember you. I chose to forget the face of my mother. Why would you do that? Is that the question that I would ask? Why would you do that?
Tears pour down her face. It was the only way I could protect you.
The only way?
Believe me. I tried.
Protect people, they need more. They need more than a roof.
I knew that they were coming for us. And I had to send you away.
It was you. It was you after all. There was some small little hope that it was something else. It was someone else. But it was you. Well, what now? What now? Are you going to send me away again? She says that I need to go back, and I won't do it. I won't do it.
She was just trying to protect you as I was. I thought I was doing the right thing.
No. It's not what I would chosen.
She looks pained by that statement. I felt that way once too. There's nothing that I can say. And I know there is nothing that you will accept. So blame me.
I will.
Never blame yourself. I ask that in the blame that you give me, please remember that I have never, not for one moment, let you out of my thoughts.
It's not fair, it's not fair. None of this is fair, and it's not fair in this moment for you to be like that. You need to be defending yourself so that I can hate you. Do you get it?
Feel the way that you need to feel. I wish I could say that it gets easier, but it does not. We are she who sits the Mobius throne. We are different and we are the same. We are always the same. I must tell you what you can expect. You can hate me, but I ask that you just remember my words. As if she's
Say
reading
them.
a script.
Say them. Say your words.
You are to become queen. You and we will meet again. I don't know when. Things are changing now. But we will see one another, and I must prepare you because we are the same, but we are different. We can love, but one thing is always the same. When I die, you will have a child. and she will be you. And when you die, your daughter will have a child, and she will be us.
That's terrible. That's terrible. We need to stop that. We need to stop it. We need to stop this. This is terrible. What?
It is our lot.
And how do we get it right? How do we do it right?
That's why I sent you away. To break it, to save you from this, to make it different than it had been. I wanted to give you a chance, not to be the same, to be yourself.
How am I different then? Tell me, stop. I need to know then. How am I different? Because maybe if I know then what has worked, maybe I can do the right thing.
She starts to cry fully. I did everything that I was told, everything that would change it. The 4 leaves. I never had them.
They're a family found. It changed because I did not have you. I had them.
She looks around, and for a moment you see her look down at Flag, and she puts her hand up because he's starting to climb the dune. We don't have much time. I remember this part. Heather, hate me. Focus on that. It's not
From
written.
him.
The story's not written. Make it your own.
It's not right.
The wind begins to pick up. And you see her turn. Not yet. I was never a witch. I don't have magic. You're different. Live that way. She runs toward you. And just before she gets there, you're gone. Back in the cell block, unbeknownst to anybody else, as Heather sits crisscross applesauce with white eyes. Rob, you and Ricky, at this point, I would assume, are kind of focused on the hair that is coming out of the cell to your right. With the eye looking, it blinks. And then it disappears and swirls. And in an almost perfect calligraphy, it writes out, as Greg looks through his tears to get to his notes, why do you have her magic? And then there's a question mark that the hair forms after it says that.
uh, he's gonna kind of look over at Ricky and is he talking to me?
I mean, I don't have magic.
I mean, well, I guess what I have is magic. So, why do you care?
It slithers back out and it spells out, the Queen's witch is my friend.
My mom was a witch.
The hair retracts into the cube. There's a beat. A full minute goes by. And then it slithers back out. You are her son? And another question mark.
Yeah. He's gonna say like obviously.
It swirls again, and the eye kind of lifts a bit as it forms the eye again. But you can almost see the hair of the pupil kind of focus a little bit as it looks you over. And then it reforms and begins to spell out again. Then I am the closest thing you have to an ant. Where is she?
Not here.
There's another beat, another full minute goes by. And the hair reforms, and half of it forms the eye as if it needs to see you when it asks this question. And the rest of it spells out, does she live?
In me. Yes.
If Rob is close enough to the bars, Ricky puts his hand through onto his shoulder.
I could say that you probably would be. Then, Rob, you would feel Ricky's hand on your shoulder. And with that connection, almost simultaneously, the entire prison shakes. And you see the hair almost form like static and lightning, and it retracts into the cube. Everybody, if you could go to your Spotify playlist and, oh, I don't know, go all the way down towards the bottom and queue up number 17, Hanging by a Moment. Scarlett. You are in a concert. You see waves and fields of people as they're jumping. Some of them are shirtless as just sweat and the song is flying from everywhere. As you look around, no need for a investigate roll here because it's prominently displayed at every conceivable like flat point. You see Lollapalooza 98. And as you look around, you look up just as this song begins to play. And the stage is dark, but you can see the figures on there as they come up. You can hear the music begin to play, and you can hear someone begin to sing. And the words creep out to you, desperate for changing, starving for truth. Closer to where I started, I'm chasing after you. And the lights come up and explode as the spotlights and pyro begins to move around. And this, the main stage of Lollapalooza 98. You see that everybody in the crowd is going crazy. The person just to your right is a wiry teen of maybe 16 or 17. Somehow in his mind, he has an idea that the guitar magazine that he has clutched in his hand is somehow going to get signed by the people on the stage, of which you are at least 30 feet away from. But on the cover of that guitar magazine, whether or not you would know this as Scarlett, because this band was not as popular as it could have been. Well, Southern California it was, but maybe not in Garrett, Maryland. You see the bassist for the Red Hot Chili Peppers flee. And beside him, you see an older Jerry Baker. They are both staring at what looks like the camera, and they have devil horns like this. And the title of the article says, "All your bass belongs to us." And as you turn and look up on the stage, you see Jerry as he moves and kind of enters into his baseline. And as he begins to slap the bass, you see sparks fly off of the strings as he hits his hands slapping as he moves around. And as he spins forward, everybody, no bassist since Flea has been this popular, especially with a group. But that pyro that he does with his bass has made him a singular event in which to any concert goer would tell you that the sparking guitar is where it's at. And so as he steps forward and is just slapping the shit out of this bass and sparks begin to fly out into the crowd goes absolutely ape shit until he moves over and the spotlight hits as a guitar wielding Ben moves up to the mic and continues to sing. And for a moment, they are back to back playing as the crowd goes absolutely nuts for this and the band that builds out around them. But it's those two, the two brothers that everybody has come to see. You know, there are mock-ups of Ben and Jerry ice cream shirts that are Ben and Jerry, but it's the Ben and Jerry band shirt. You know, it's a parody on the ice cream. But everybody is around. This seems to be a crowd for them, even though it's at the festival known as Lollapalooza. And you feel a hand on your shoulder.
I think as she's like jumping and screaming, and like, I imagine Jerry's signature move when he hits the bass and the sparks fly, all the crowd is mimicking the same motion. And so she's doing the same hand motion. And then when the hand hits her shoulder, she just freezes and looks back.
At first, you think it's the gunslinger. You, the older you. But you know this isn't the gunslinger. This is you. Maybe 24, 25. And you're staring at yourself, and she looks down. I knew you'd be here. This is Scranton, by the way. So you know. I need you to stay strong, Scarlett.
Can I just stay a little longer?
I think so. I know it's at least for this song.
You gonna stay too?
I hope.
Come on. And she takes her hand and pulls her like up next to her.
You feel something in the hand when you grab it.
She looks.
There's a ring on the finger.
What's this? And she, still holding her hand, pulls her hand up so she could look at it.
It's a wedding ring. And she smiles when you see it. And she looks to her right and left, which is comical because you're in this huge crowd of people jumping around. So even as she's looking at you, you see like a backdrop of people leaping over her shoulders and whatnot that she doesn't really, I mean, she gets, bustled a few times, but she looks as if she's in a conspiratorial mood with you inside this huge mass of humanity. And she grabs the ring, and where there was a diamond, you see her twist the ring and pull the diamond off, and there is a glowing speck, the very last speck of the Energon from Optimus Prime. And she holds it up and shows you your wedding ring.
Is that? She looks
She knows.
closely at it.
Ben kept it. And I knew about it. And I had two made, mine and his. We asked him to marry us.
I think she blushes. Do you guys ever go for milkshakes?
Her face falls a little bit. I hate to say this. It's not fair of me to say this. That's up to you.
And she looks up at the sky. This isn't home, though. Is everything still shitty?
It's strange.
Because I told him when everything's no longer shitty, we can go for milkshakes.
You only have yourself to blame if you break your word on that. Everything's always going to be shitty. It's your job to fight against that. You have to fight for your friends. You have to fight for me. You have to fight for us. I didn't listen. I wish I would have.
Why didn't you?
I was mad. I still am mad. It doesn't make sense. Not now. I put my guns away. Too soon. Fight for us. You hear a guitar solo in the back. The song's almost over.
And she takes her hand, lifts it back up, and then puts the ring back on her finger.
You're stronger than you know. You're stronger than me.
I think she lets go of her hand, but then gives her a big hug.
She hugs you back and you feel the strength. You can tell, even in your advanced age of the mid-20s, she is still a formidable athlete. And she whispers into your ear, look at all these bitches around here. You know how many of them want to be us?
Good luck.
The song ends. And the spotlights continue to whirl, and she looks up. Look. And you see, as Ben finishes playing, he looks over at Jerry, and they both are smiling, and they put their heads together for a second and start laughing as they spin away, and you see his eyes go straight to Scarlet in the crowd. And he sees and he smiles, and his smile falls as he sees you. And he turns, and you see him yell. You hear it, even over this crowd, you hear him yell, Jerry! And Jerry stops, but he can't focus into the crowd, but Ben is looking right at you now. And he mouths the words, stay strong. And you're gone. All right, back in the cell blocks. Everybody, Ricky, Rob, the shaking continues. It's a dull rumble now, but it's as if there is a 1.3 earthquake just kind of making everything tickle. And it's not stopping, and the hair has not come back. Ricky,
Yes.
you hear behind you, it's time.
Test. Test.
Do I
Testing.
recognize the voice?
Testing 1, 2.
It's the road.
He still has his hand on Rob's shoulder and he looks back. Does he see anything out of the ordinary in the cell itself?
You see Hannah Casper lying in the back of your cell. Rob, you do not. There, to your eyes, Ricky is alone in his cell. But you do hear him talking.
Do you have a way out of here? As he looks at her and releases his hand on Rob's shoulder. How do I
Rob's
get
gonna
everyone
answer
out?
no.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you would hear Rob, say what he said. Hannah kind of
Ricky just
smiles
nods.
as she looks towards Rob. Her body is almost completely white. Her hair is white. Took you a moment to recognize her. She still has her youthful appearance. She is not aged, but her hair would speak otherwise, but it seems to be a uniform color. I don't have a way out, but you do. If you want it.
Does she look like, because you said she's lying down in the back of the cell. Does she look like she's injured in any way? Or just that she's lying down relaxing? Or
She
what's
definitely
the
doesn't look like
vibe
she's
you're getting?
relaxing, but I will tell you what, I'll take two things here. I will take a empathize or I will take an investigate. Each will give you a slightly different answer.
Both are terrible, but investigate is slightly better. Yeah, let's go investigate, Greg. Ooh, 1 success.
Fantastic. As you look at her, in your studies, especially, a student of war, student of tactics, you have come across pictures of casualties. And when you would see pictures of great battles of, World War II or any of the ones that could actually, even the Civil War that has like the rudimentary photographs, things that you had studied in, your time away from Garrett, you know what the look of a corpse looks like, unfortunately. And she looks little more than that. She is fading. Of that, you are certain.
Ricky will walk to her and he'll go down into one knee and take her hand. He says, if I'm to get out of here, I need to take everyone. Is there anything I can do for you?
She smiles. Say yes. And she
Say yes.
weakly puts a hand up. Eons ago, you were spoken for, as was I. We are part of a chain. They speak of their queens and their bishops. We, if you take it, we are the land. We are the age. Would you like to see? And not
Ricky
what they are
takes
seeing.
off his hat at this.
Not what they see. As she points, kind of moves her chin towards Heather and Scarlett and JD. What I show you.
He just nods.
That same pale, dying hand reaches out for you.
He will take that hand in his hand.
The wind is whipping through your hair. Your hat, I guess, just trying to keep it, has been kind of tied off on the saddle of the horse that you now ride. It is a rudimentary saddle, something that you would see some of the Great Plains tribes would use to make their horses faster, to make them more synergistic, more symbiotic with the rider. And as you ride, you see Hannah is beside you, and you are both riding these brilliant steeds of gray. And the world of the age of always spreads out as you ride through the seasons. And she looks over and she yells, but it comes across as conversational. This is the land, not those that walk on it. It has been, it will always be, but it needs someone to protect it. It chose you, Ricky. It was always you. And as you ride, you see the waterfall where Heather dove from. You see the bivouac where JD studied. You see the glade in which Scarlet took her first shots. You ride through it. There's the cabin. And for a moment, you see somebody open up the cabin and you see Flag look out. And he smiles and he waves as you thunder past.
Ricky tips his hat.
You can't hear him, but you see him laugh. You continue to ride. You see a sea, white capped. Almost looks like there's horses riding in on these waves as they crash. You see a great red magical bull stalking the beach, but even it turns to see you and it lowers its head in respect as you ride by. You see a great blue castle along the coast and you ride and you see the sky and you see the animals and the birds, every mystical creature, every normal creature that you have ever seen, the ones that you used to negotiate in the woods around your farm. All of them seem to be here. All of them seem to know who you are. And finally, Hannah stops upon the same precipice that Heather would sit and jump off of the waterfall. And you look with that eagle-eyed vision that the age of always gives you. Is this something that you would want? You have a choice. You can say no. You will never be able to go back.
I know I've been told to say no to this and that we should go back, but I can't see anything better than this.
I brought your family here so they wouldn't take them. But you, and she seems happy, but she's almost like defending her own or refuting her own argument. You can go, you can take them back. You don't have to stay. I just wanted you to have the option.
The only reason to go back would be to fix what's broken. But the problem started here, as far as I know. I mean, I've got to look to the others for, well, figuring out of this sort of stuff. But as far as I know, the problem's here. It's what I've been told. And if I can fix it here, there's no reason to go back. My family's here. My home's here. And he looks out to the land. He says, there's not much like this at home. If it's open land, it's farms. And I love the farm, but this is wilderness.
If you ever have to go back, you can't stay. But you can use the library. Only you can.
But I can help the others.
Yes, you can help everyone. Everything
He has
that
a
ever
big smile.
is. Yeah, everything that ever is or everything that ever was comes through the age of always. And you protect it if you choose.
There's no way I can say no to that.
She smiles. and you're back in the cell. And you can see that she is fading much faster. Everything that I am is yours. Could you do one thing for me? You can see her shouting because she can't hear herself really at this point.
He nods.
Tell the man you know as Mr. Derry. Tell him we will be together again. And when next we meet, it will be the last hello we ever say, for we shall never leave one another's side.
I will.
Then carry on, champion. You are the land. Defend her well, and live even better.
I will defend her with my life.
And she is gone. Rob, for a moment, Ricky looks like a wire frame of spinning yellow dotted lines. And then it fills in and you see Ricky again. His hat's a little brighter. JD. You are lying cold on a stone mausoleum bed. You see many people tending to you. You see what look like clerics and medicuses and things of that nature, military healers that are pouring over your pale form. But you are removed from the situation. You are one of these clerics, one of these silent monks. You've seen them before, only they wore dark robes. But these are robes of light, of white. And you hear them talking, whispers among those that are allowed to speak. He is not going to live. The childlike emperor, we don't know what to do. Somehow you know these are decades gone, decades in the middle of your century of fighting. You remember being wounded in battle one time and waking in a place like this. But you have no idea what happened while you were unconscious. But now you are gifted with this sight. You see one of the medicuses stand up and they take away some kind of spectacles, almost like a loop that a jeweler would use. We need someone from where he comes from. Someone will know how to do this. We do not know his name. He must be named. It is the only way for him to survive. And you see another person. The wizard. The wizard comes from where he comes from. And a message is sent out. Mike.
Yes.
The call has gone out for you to aid the childlike emperor, this figure that you would know to be a great military leader, a person that you have been warned about. By who? Well, that's your secret. But they have come to collect you. And as the medicuses and clerics say, only you can heal the childlike emperor, because the childlike emperor needs a name. And you see him lying cold on this slab in the mausoleum. And JD, you see these events unfolding as you are there humming and chanting the magics of healing that are not finding purchase in your form. You feel you can't move, but you can bear witness. The cleric comes up to you, Mike. Wizard, is there anything you can do? A name, but it must be from someone from his world. Can you do this?
I think I can. Yes.
Fantastic. You see them preparing scrolls, and they begin to scribble what looks like, calligraphy, but to the wizard, it looks like them writing once upon a time over and over again. That's not what they're writing, but it certainly looks like they're writing once upon a time, dot, 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 once upon a time, dot, 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 as they write it all over the mausoleum, all over the body of JD. When you are ready, we will support your magics, wizard.
He walks over to the stone plinth that this ancient warrior is laid down upon, and he sort of waves to the monks to lean in, and he leans down to the ear of this unknown soldier and whispers, just loud enough for the other monks to hear, "I name you Mitch, he who walks between the rows," and then stands back.
You see them scribble in their books, in the histories that will be told, that this figure, the childlike emperor, is Mitch, he who walks between the rows. And all of the once upon a times disappear in brilliant gouts of orange flame that kind of consume the letters. And they consume the letters across the throat of JD, across his chest, across his legs and arms. They don't leave scorch marks or burns, but for a moment, the skin itself is a little pinker, and you can actually see the once upon a time, almost like a sunburn across the flesh. JD, you witnessed all of this too. And you recognize the wizard. You will see him again across the field of battle, many years from this moment. Is there anything that you want to do, as limited as you are in this form of observation? You felt this before, JD. This is like when you used to look through the eyes of somebody whenever you were staring into the cauldron, and you were able to experience what they experienced, but had little control. You feel, though, that you have a bit in this moment. What do you do?
I think the only thing that that JD wants to find out is more information. So he notices and recognizes one person, the wizard. Does he recognize anybody else in this crowd as somebody he may already know?
Roll me and investigate, but do so. What's our equivalent of an advantage on this one? Do we have that for or
Yeah,
we
you
can
just
do a
make
bonus?
it make it 2 successes.
Yeah.
Okay, so just roll.
Yeah, roll your
sorry.
investigate, and then just make it easy. Roll it twice, and let's see how many successes you have.
I cannot fail. 2 successes.
As your eyes look around, you recognize the wizard, you mark the wizard, you see the wizard. You know that with those 2 successes, there isn't any variation of this wizard that you would not recognize. This one, you could pick out of a lineup of Mitches. You've noted him. But as your eyes scan around, you see one of the monks, one of the clerics, is a beautiful woman with blonde hair that you know will become the bishop. And she is looking directly at you, and she nods.
Yeah, I'll just give her a side smile back.
Does JD, let's see. JD, at this point, JD would have been through about 20 years worth of conflict. So let's make a roll here. And if you give me your pride, I will make this automatic. This is a roll to see if you can understand the cavalry signals that the bishop is going to give you as a form of sign language to communicate with you in the silent space.
Sure, you can take my pride. That's cool. Check it off.
She says to you, "What I will give you will change the world." She nods again, and when she sees that you have kind of collected that part, she signs back. Fight for it. And JD, you are back in the cell. Heather, Scarlet, you begin to come to, and all of you are in and out, but your eyes are all, JD, Scarlet, and Heather's eyes are all still white. And Wendy, across on the cell next to JD, is whispering, it's the prison of dreams. The past, the present, the future, meant to keep us calm. He killed Peter. In front of me, he killed Peter. Showed him to me when he fell. And you see her slowly exhale. And she sits, her back straight, and her eyes are white again as she falls back into the dream. Rob, someone is coming down the hall. Someone you recognize. Mitch?
And Mitch walks into the prison and looks around at everybody, looks at the lock, nods his head, and then stops between Ricky and Rob. For a second, he looks back and forth, and then stops on Rob and squints and cocks his head to the side and looks closer at the bars, as if trying to figure out why you look so familiar. You weren't here the first time. Why do I recognize you?
Why do you recognize me? Why do I recognize you?
Oh, I'm the wizard. I'm Casey Mitchell. Well, everyone recognizes me. I know them. And there's something... God, I can't place it. I'm usually really good with names and faces and people and things and nouns, really.
When did you start going by Casey?
I guess when I became the wizard. I mean, most people call me the wizard. Wiz, sometimes.
No one calls you that, Mitch.
Mitch? No one's called me that in a long time.
No. He's going to kind of step back, do a little half spin each way. Nothing. My dad's a big robot.
Rob?
What's up, bitch?
How did you get here?
How are you alive?
I'm the wizard now. I know that doesn't actually explain anything now that I've said it. But
No, it doesn't.
I promise you that it should. It should explain everything. And if you were from here, it would explain everything. And you're not.
You're not from here either.
Yeah, but that's not. It's like a.
This is where you went?
It's one of the places, I guess.
Did you even try to come back?
I can't. There's no. I can't get through.
I got here.
I don't know how. Hold on. And he reaches into his jacket and pulls out a a device that looks like you took a Game Boy and a Mr. Game & Watch and sort of smashed them together. And it says in tape a mitchometer on top of it. And he says, I made this. And the girl, the crying one, that one. And he points to Scarlet and he says, I made this. And she was crying and I put her blood in it to find her friends. Like it was consensual. She did the thing and it was like and then I found her friends. But this also can sciencey words tell me where you're from. And I know that they're from Garrett and you. I don't know how any of you got here.
Ricky stands forward, puts his hat back on his head. He says, "You never asked."
Well, you also just sort of showed up in the city, and then that guy that you said was your friend attacked my city, and then you all disappeared, and then
I don't
the
know.
war ended, obviously, and you reappeared, and that was suspicious that all of you showed up when the guy who was running the army that attacked my city, and then you conveniently disappear. So I put you all in prison because I think that makes the most sense.
It makes sense that you put me in here, but they did nothing. And he
Yeah, but
points to
they said they knew him, and he led the army. And then he showed up when you showed up. Rob did. And so all of you. Until I figure it out.
We know you too. Does that mean anything? Anyway, did you notice that when the antennas on the loop went down, people started to remember things? Did you notice that?
I noticed that the evil army that was attacking the city was using magic and spellcraft to assail the people that I was trying to save from the city. Do you remember the moving streets that I was trying to get all the citizens out of the city, away from the war? You remember
really
the bad
great.
guys catapulting boulders and magic spells
The
into
bad
the city?
the bad guys that were hitting the loop? You mean those bad guys?
Yeah, the invading army that was attacking the city of peaceful civilians? I
Do you remember your own allies? Your own allies were remembering things. All of a sudden. Do you not remember that, Mr. Wizard?
You mean they were mind controlled by spells?
No. They were remembering their actual memories.
Wendy isn't here because she was so affected by the army's spells that she has almost no idea who she is. She's in here for her own safety. Dot and Alice are very concerned.
If everyone could be under the effects of the spells, then you could too.
I guess in theory.
Yes, in theory. Just like your theory.
But the general of the enemy army is here, and the army has been disbanded, so in theory the spell work. How did I get him?
Yeah.
We stopped the invasion. And that's kind of what happens when you take prisoners, and he seemed like the best one to take.
Ricky and Rob, roll me an investigate.
no successes for Ricky.
Hold on. I think it's not. Yeah.
It might have a pop-up under your character sheet too.
Yeah, it's the character sheet's there, but it's like blocked out. There we go. Sorry.
Let's see. Anybody want to spend luck here? Oh, actually, let me see. Who's the next closest? I'll take an
Oh,
investigate from
I
Heather.
got it.
Oh, you got
I
it?
got it.
Okay. I'll take an investigate from Heather too, actually.
I got one success.
One success.
Heather, you're not sure what you're looking at. It looks like somebody is writing on the ground, kind of elevated at an angle, like lifted up like a billboard in Rob's cell coming from the black square. But Rob, as you kind of look down, seeing a little bit of movement out of the corner of your eye, in all capital calligraphy letters, it is saying liar.
Anyway,
Let us
I
know.
need to ask a few questions. I need some answers here to figure some things out, and then you guys will be let out of your cells, and you guys can return back to whatever the hell you were doing before. Cool.
Okay, what do you want to know, wizard?
Where did you go? How did you go? And how did you get back, for starters? Because 1 minute I was protecting you on my platform, and then the next minute you leapt off and then disappeared. And then the next minute you turned back up with someone else.
Scarlet
I
can't
don't know
really.
why we should tell you anything.
So you knew they were from
I did just kind of
Bulgaria?
say that because if you don't tell me things, then I can't really let you out of prison. That's the why. Yes, I currently know. I knew when she was crying, I found out because of the machometer.
And you didn't try to work with them to figure out how to get back.
Well, see, what happened was I was living my life, and then the crying girl was crying, and I bumped into her, brought her back to. Oh, sorry, you weren't here. I brought them back to their friends. I settled them in to have them relax for a minute, and then asked them questions. And then right after that, that guy started catapulting giant rocks and robots and other crazy things at my city. And so I started to defend the city because it's full of regular people living their everyday lives, doing their jobs. And then they disappeared. This all happened in the matter of an hour, I think, if math is
No.
right.
No. Your
By the
math
way,
is not
JD.
mathing.
Yeah, by the way, JD, this is the person that you saw name you when you were down, obviously. But just for clarification, this is the Mitch that did that. In addition to that, Mike, since the wizard knows all, there is something going on in the side of Rob's cell. You see, even from this angle, it looks like hair that is writing to Rob. And you watch as it writes out, as it's spelling across everything. He wants what JD has.
I just bang on the door of the golden locked cage.
I thought you were supposed to be the all-knowing, all-powerful Wizard of Oz. No, there was a few days in between all that. But and
That's Mike.
you're
That's
carefully.
Mike fucking that up.
I'm going to use it as
100%
Mitch
Mike.
fucked that up.
Yeah.
Mitch fucked that up.
That was 7 months ago for me, G.
He's conveniently leaving out that he's working. Well, sorry, his sheriff of this Emerald City is Rugen, and he was attacking our friends and trying to arrest them.
It's funny you should mention that because you hear footsteps and the sheriff comes up to support the wizard. He doesn't seem to be the jailer of this place, but he's acting like it as he bangs some of the empty cells as he's walking up. You know, not enough to interrupt the boss, but whenever you all are talking, he kind of clink, 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 clink. Only JD would notice this. But what he is using to clank along the jail cells is a horn. A spiraling
Fuck.
horn.
Sorry.
The sheriff was the sheriff here when I took over. I didn't, like, go out into the woods and find him.
She points her gun at him, just like she did that last time when he was on the ground after Ricky knocked him over.
I
Him.
assure you that will not work here.
She doesn't lower it.
If you ever wonder if you're on the right side, you just need to look around at the other people who are there. You know, I'm just saying that if he was already here, you should have known to turn around.
Your friend is the leader of the evil army that attacked the city.
Why do you keep
Yes.
acting like you don't know who I am?
Should I?
We've met before.
I-
Maybe your memory's not so great, Mr. Wizard.
Remind everyone that I am the Wizard of Oz, and I meet so many people on a regular basis. Did you do anything besides between the time I met you and becoming the leader of the army that would be recognizable? Have we interacted
things.
before?
You helped me
I
at a
helped you?
point.
I
you
helped
did.
you at a point.
You named me.
The Mitch! He who walks between the rows.
Hmm.
I recall.
Just now.
That makes sense. And how?
Where's
How-
VH?
Who?
Van Halen. Where is she?
The band?
And Lion. Where's Lion?
I'm just messing with you. She's fine. He's fine. The old guy you brought in was also fine. They're in a different part of the prison.
They're in prison?
Well, yeah, you all showed up together. You all claimed to be friends with the leader of the army. And at one point, you also tried to convince me that the old guy you brought in was Randall Flagg, known terrorist. And, you know, figured I'd put him in
We
there.
didn't bring him in.
Well, we brought him in.
Your sheriff did.
And then you tried to convince me that he was the known terrorist, Randall Flagg, known as the Walking Dude. Which
How?
So
my posters would clearly prove otherwise. And he pulls up a poster and
Yeah.
I'll be. And it looks like JD.
Yeah, because you can trust a poster.
who made the poster?
The Emerald City Police.
Who's in charge of the Emerald City Police?
The Sheriff of Nottingham.
She points her gun.
The
again.
sheriff?
She points her gun again at him, not like.
How did you survive? Ricky is looking at the sheriff.
He holds up the unicorn's horn and picks his teeth with it, but does not answer.
Shouldn't trust someone who doesn't die when they're dead.
I don't want to burst any bubbles here. That's kind of the whole. That's like a whole theme. That's like a whole theme here in the Age of Always. People die and come back to life literally all the time. Frankly, it happens. It happens quite a bit.
Then he should be removed from the Age of Always.
What? Why?
Because he's not a good person.
This Age of Always is full of. It's. You all seem very smart so far. You've all read books, right?
No.
Have you?
Yeah, all the books, well, unless they're like children, all books have bad guys. And all stories pass through the Age of Always. You can't have light without dark. You can't have good without bad. There has to be an antithesis. No one will be
Where
a
do you
hero
think
if they
you
don't
line
stand
up
up
in this
against
story?
anything.
Where do you think you line up in this story?
I was just trying to be an okay guy and run a city.
Mm-hmm.
And then a bunch of out-of-towners come in and start messing things up.
Rob, in your cell, it says liar, killer, murderer.
Yeah, no, Rob's furious. He's watching all of this play out. He's letting them dig this hole.
What I don't understand is how all of you, if you're the same guy, if you're the Mitch, how do all of you know Mitch?
Met him.
Because I named him a long time ago.
I mean, you named him a long time ago, so why couldn't we know him too? Time's weird here, right?
That is true. Time
So
is
just-
weird here.
I think you need to start thinking about whether or not the opposite of the story you think is true is true.
What?
Oh, just put the right words together correctly. You understand things wrongly. You're incorrect.
So
Either
I'm
that or
the
you're
bad
lying.
guy?
Yes, you're the bad guy.
That doesn't make any sense.
How long, Mitch?
How long, Mitch?
How long did you look for a way home?
There is no way home. We knew that.
How long did you try?
I didn't. There were too many other things in other places, just like this, that needed to be fixed.
You gonna ask?
No.
Fuck you, man.
I said I would fix it. I said I would fix everything. And that's what I'm doing.
Not for us.
There was never any going back. And we knew that.
That didn't keep us from trying to find you, to bring you back. Years, Mitch, we tried. We fucking tried, man. You're playing wizards in the fucking make-believe.
It is very real, first of all. Second of all, we knew what could have happened if I came back.
Could have. It could have. It didn't have to.
If I never came back, it never happens.
That's bullshit. He didn't even try. You didn't even look into it. You didn't even try to find other possibilities. You took one story, one conversation as gospel and said, fuck it. And that's it. New lifetime. Screw the other guys, right?
When have my plans never worked.
Your plans suck, bitch.
But they always work.
Well,
Nope.
this isn't working for the rest of us, man.
The weird hair in your cell is
Glad
right,
it's
though.
worked out for you. Glad everything's worked out for you and it looks fine. I promise you, everything was not fine in Garrett.
You lived.
What does that mean? We lived? Is that
Better than
is
not
that the
living.
only goal? What kind of life will we have? Man, everything fell apart. Everything. Maggie's dead. Dude,
The prison
it's just
shakes.
me. I followed a bunch of children that I barely even know because I needed to get out. The last one. I left Garrett alone.
So you left her defenseless.
I left to find help.
You want to help Garrett?
And that means not bringing you back, right? That's the key. Just to leave you in this time forgotten fantasy world.
No. Unfortunately. The creepy hair in your corner is correct. There is a killer.
Yeah,
One
I've
of
heard you've been
you
up to a lot.
killed the bishop and stole the powers. Without them, the Age of Always will fall. I know which one of you has them. And the way the rules work here is that I cannot take them from you. I can only impress upon you the fact that if you take them, if you keep them, the world here will fall into darkness. However, if you willingly gift them to me, I can prevent that.
Wasn't that convenient?
Mitch,
Name's not Mitch.
if what you say is true, a long time ago, I saved you from death. I ask for this one thing in return. Without it, I cannot stop what is going to happen.
No.
Why you? And what's going to happen?
Darkness will descend upon the Age of Always, and all of the stories that come through here, from your Garrett and the uncountable number of others that touch this space, the darkness will spread to each of them, blinking them out one by one. I don't have the time to teach you how to use the power. And I have even less time to wait for you to figure it out.
Is there someone better suited than you?
I don't know. I'll be
Mhm.
honest. Once I figured it out, once I figured out what I needed, once I figured out how to make it work, finding another person to teach that to didn't seem like the priority.
Can't
Of
trust him,
course.
y'all. We can't trust him. We already know that he's wrong and he won't admit he's wrong. What else is he wrong about?
You have no desire to go home?
Nothing good can come from my return.
Nothing good is there. It's already not good. If you planned to fix things, I don't know if you did.
The
You
age of
think you
the age of always is a nexus. If I can stop what's happening here, it will spread everywhere else. The same goes for if I cannot.
She looks at JD. What is he? What power is he talking about?
Well, a long time ago, well, pretty much right after I left, you have to understand it's been a long time for me. It hasn't been 5 hours, 5 days, 5 months. It's been hundreds of years. What, or at least 100. Time is, as mentioned, weird. But shortly after I left, I was on the road, and the ferryman died, and we were attacked by people in black cloaks. The bishop left her station and came to help. I couldn't save her, but I was gifted her power or part of it. It's what he wants. While
What
I
can
was
that-
gone, I don't know. I don't know what it can do, to be honest. But I'm not giving it up. I've been told not to give it up.
Don't give it up.
Who told you not
And-
to give it up?
Bishop did.
And you've had that for 100 years?
Give or take, yeah.
Then he's a better fit than you. And he looks at Mitch. He's
What's
had
the
it
power
for-
do? How do you use it? Show me the bishop's power.
I don't know.
Is he the better fit? 100 years hasn't even cracked it.
You don't even have the ability to use it. So how can you guarantee that you're gonna not just be like him?
The
And you're 100
moment he
years
gives
behind.
it to me, I can use it.
Well, that means it was gifted to him too. He can use it too.
Use it.
I'll try to use it, Greg.
Roll me a d12.
What? Could be good, depending.
Nothing happens.
You've been here for how long? And you can access the road? You've been here for how long? And you can use magic?
Are you talking to me?
I
I
don't know
don't
how-
think you should use me as an example. Don't use me as an example in your bullshit story, sir. You don't even know what happens when an antenna breaks on the loop. How long have you been living here? You know why you don't know? Because your mind isn't there. You need to start paying attention. You know what? What does your father's face look like? What does it look like? Mr. Wizard?
He wore a blue jumpsuit, zipped to the crotch. His name was John Paul. Or John Patrick. It said JP on the name tag.
Okay, what
He
does
had
he
a
look
beard that was going a little bit white. listened to heavy metal music. And he died. What's your father look like? And he looks to Heather.
It's none of your business.
That's what I thought.
I want to try something, Greg.
I knew you would, buddy, at some point.
Slap him.
Aggressive.
I want to try to use the magic I have. Maybe, hopefully, to try to get out of this cage or whatever. I kind of want to, I want to try to just pull the bars open using my Allspark. Is that something that I can try out?
Sure, roll me a d12.
All right.
You can use the drop down on the left-hand side to just go down to the dice if you want to and make it easier on yourself.
Yeah, hold
Just
on.
pick-
I gotta refresh because my thing is. 6.
The prison starts to
Can
shake.
I use my pride
Do you want to?
on this? Is this because my pride is my dad is a driver.
The prison starts to really shake. And the hair, Ricky, I'm going to say this is you because you've been having a little bit more success seeing this. It spells out in all capital calligraphy, yes, as everything starts to shake.
And that's exactly. I'm sorry. Go
No, you go ahead. You go ahead, bud.
ahead. And that's exactly what Rob's going to interject with was, I know what my dad looks like. He's going to start pulling the bars open. He's a giant fucking robot. And just pull the fucking bars apart.
The bars aren't apart yet, but they are. You can hear the strain of metal, Wizard, as whatever Rob is doing, it is working. Even despite the spells that are associated with the prison, it's seeming to circumvent that, as if maybe the magic that he possesses helped to make this place.
Whoa. Stop. You can just go. You don't have to rip the place down.
Do you stop?
No, absolutely not.
He's not stopping.
You understand I'm going to have to make you stop.
You say that.
And he just sort of flicks his hand towards Rugen.
And Scarlet shouts out, JD, grab him! At Rugen, like, grab Rugen.
Is he close enough to grab?
He is. He is a little too confident as he's picking his teeth with the horn of a unicorn.
Yeah, I'll try and grab his arm and pull it through like the bar. And I would like to try and get this horn too.
Roll me a force then. I couldn't see. How many?
2.
It's 2.
As the wizard, as you turn to, indicate the sheriff, you hear a clanging thud as the arm with the horn is ripped through the bars and his head smashes against the bars as JD cranks, puts his feet up on the inside of his cage and begins to kind of like crank Rugen against the bars as he's pounding against the sides, completely dazed. JD, with a century's worth of warfare, is coming in handy right now.
Brukin, what do you
And you
even
have
do
form.
here?
He can't even answer. You see blood, a tooth is missing. He is getting his ass handed to him right now.
Scarlet is screaming at JD, "Get up, JD! Get up!" And she's trying to get out the door somehow.
Everybody's banging, the place is shaking. The
Yeah.
son of Optimus Prime is starting to bend the fucking bars. Ricky, in this moment of mania, as everybody is screaming and the land is at your back, what do you do?
Ricky starts to think about the conversation with Hannah Casper on the road, as we're riding through the Age of Always, and he starts to concentrate as hard as he can. And what he wants to try and do, and it's the role for bullshit, Greg, is take everyone that's in this prison somewhere else.
Roll me a d12. Wizard, as this is going down, you are standing alone in the middle of the hallway, and the prison is a rockin'.
I will give you my pride as well with that, Greg. It's a 3.
Okay, I'll take into consideration as you begin to concentrate.
The wizard begins to go through his many pockets and looking a little exasperated, begins to slap a couple of things on the center, if there were a center line of the padlocked cage. Essentially, slapping these things on, and he slaps them on, and they like drill themselves in wherever he slaps them on. And then he fastens something and undoes the lock on that cage. And he reaches out with it and hits JD with it.
You all start to see as this white glowing kind of gossamer web right from the spot where it touched JD begins to drag from JD into this lock. But Rob, as you are sitting there, the bars are beginning to go, and you look just something out of your periphery inside the cell that is cloaked in blackness with just an inch or two give between it and the bars. You see a hand reach up from inside, and it grips the bar, and the hand is green. And you hear a voice say, "And nobody in all of Oz, no wizard that there is or was, is ever going to bring us down." And as the darkness disappears inside of the cell, you see your aunt, Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West. And my friends, that is where we end this session of Atari Twilight.
No! I had Mitch's number, and I was ready.
Good times.
No!
Greg, you've done so wonderful in the past. Feel free to do the outros for everybody.
Sure, let's just go around and talk to everybody. Let's talk to JD first. JD, where can we find you, buddy?
Ooh, what a session! What a session! You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at As Told by Dice. Just been hanging out, and I'm actually gonna start. I'm doing National Novel Writing Month, so I might post some updates on that this month. So maybe look for that. But that's where you find me.
Fantastic. Let's jump over to Chris. Chris.
I'm Chris Akernecker. You can find me here on unMadeGaming is the only place, in the Discord, in the Patreon one-shots, Age of Always, and the Patreon campaign. That's it.
Fantastic, my friend. Frags.
Muted.
It wouldn't be an unmade gaming game without somebody talking while muted. Yeah, I'm KW Frags. You can find me in St. Louis rolling on dubs, smoking, and clubs blowing up like cooking puffs, as Nelly says. No. Yeah, I'm just here. I'm just hanging around. Yeah, and I'm Rob.
Fantastic, my friend. Melissa.
Hi y'all, I'm Draftier here around unMade Gaming. I also have Games with Stories where I just recently released a illustration of Schmendrick, the magician. And now that I know that Bacon here is doing NaNoWriMo, maybe you'll find me doing that too. That sounds fun.
And last but not least, Scarlet. Or G.
Hello. I am G, the friendly neighborhood lightning invoker. You can find me on all things unMadeGaming. I'll be modding during the week with the Witching Hour, and then you'll find me with Chris for the Patreon one-shots and the campaign, which was on the 23rd this month. And then with Melissa for Mundus Novus, another Patreon campaign, and you'll find me in the Discord all the time.
And Greg.
Fantastic. Hell, I'm Greg, everybody. Warp Reactor over on YouTube. If you like reaction videos, jump over there. We have some fun. I will say this. Join us next time for the Atari Twilight Age of Always, episode 12, our season finale for this one, entitled Turn the Age.
And that is it from us. Again, as always, if you like what we do and you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is over on our Patreon. While you're clicking on that link, join us in the Discord, be a part of the community, be a part of the conversation. But for now, we need to do an after show. We'll see you guys next time. From all of us to you, bye-bye.